Okay, let's do this, man. All right. Hi everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Hexa Gear Around the World. This is episode 5, and today we have someone very, very special from Joe. Where are you from, man? Joe?
I'm from Canada, Ontario to be specific.
Ontario, Canada. How is it like right now? How's the weather? Is good?
It's good. It's really hot.
Oh, yeah?
Um, like we get really humid heat,
Yeah.
and so it gets gross. So,
Yeah.
uh, like I ran my AC up here all morning because I'm in like kind of an attic space,
Yeah.
and but it's so loud I couldn't keep it running while we were like since I knew we'd be recording because I did a test yesterday and
Hmm.
it was so loud. I had it running all morning, so it should stay kind of cool.
Do
I
you
also
have
have a fan over.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, do you have like a portable fan somewhere or things like that? Yeah. So it's summertime, right? It's summertime right
It
now.
is.
For how long? Do you have like couple months left or what?
Yeah, it'll stay hot all the way up till about October.
Wow.
Um, but then like cause September's a weird month. It usually stays pretty warm, but then like October 1st,
Yeah.
it's like it goes to Canadian like winter. Like we don't get much of a fall. Like
Yeah.
the colors will change, but it'll just get freezing and it stinks.
So it's gonna like
So
skip. So it skips from one season to the next.
basically, yeah,
Yeah.
it yeah.
Cool, man. Joe, first thing first, thank you so much for spending your lovely Saturday morning with me on this show. Really, really appreciate it. And for those of you who don't know, Joe actually helped me a lot in this last project that I did. So if you guys follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, you will see that I posted some stuff, right? So Joe, you can also follow him at the Casual Nerd. I think I'm gonna put your handle somewhere over here,
Nice.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just want to say really, really appreciate it. I'm very happy with how it turned out. So all thanks to you and a couple of the other guys from Discord and IG. So awesome, man. Let's talk about Hexa Gear, man. I can
Oh
see
yes.
I can see all those archive cards behind you, all those.
Yeah, I want to fill this whole space. But the sad thing is, as I was like kind of sorting through them, I
Mhm.
realized, I guess at some point during my move, because
Yeah,
I've been at this place less than a year, I lost or misplaced some, and it
yeah,
really upsets me because like I don't have the Agna Rage up there.
yeah.
I don't have the Abyss Crawler and like Lord Impulse, and I'm
Hmm.
kind of sad about that.
Yeah.
Although technically the one of the night types, Bianco, he's on Lord Impulse, so
Yeah,
that kind of
so
helps.
that's fine. So that's fine.
But, but yeah, I was like they for a long time they were just kind of in like an envelope because they didn't know what to do with them,
Yeah,
and I was just like I should use this space because it's like it's a really angled wall and you can't
yeah.
hang anything. They're
Hmm.
all just kind of taking place for now. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens.
Cool, man.
But
That's cool. That's cool. I actually kept an album, just to it's kind of like a photo album, but it's
yeah,
for yeah, because they are actually postcard size, right? So yeah, I got one of those albums and decided to make it like a collection. Yeah, so that's how I do it. But I know there are other collectors, they actually put it like on their wall or on their shelves. Yeah, I see a lot of them. So that's cool. That's cool. Okay, now I have to ask you this, Joe. Are you like the only person among your friends who built Hexagear? What's the
oh
story?
yeah,
Really?
yeah. I mean, out of my friends, I'm the only one who's as big of a nerd as I
Yeah,
am.
the casual nerd.
Yeah, yeah. Like I mean, like I take I take my hobby seriously, but not so seriously that I'd like get offended by anything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but but yeah, like I don't actually have any any close friends who are into any of like the really nerdy stuff because like my Instagram is predominantly like Transformers pictures and
Right.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I've got a huge collection of Transformers,
Mm-hmm.
and so like friends follow me and stuff, but like nobody, like I don't have a lot of people to talk to about
Yeah.
this stuff. Like
Yeah.
I'll get really excited and like finish a kit and go to my wife and be like, hey, look what I made, look at it, it's so cool. She's
Yeah.
like, oh, and she totally supports it, but she is not interested in the
Yeah.
same kind of way. So
Yeah.
she's always excited for me, but that's about it. It's like, oh, that's awesome, that looks really good, I like the colors, and you're like, cool, but you don't get the same kind of like there's no talking about it. It's just kind of like I do all the talking.
Yeah. Of
And then she goes,
course.
oh, nice. And same thing with my brother, right? Like my younger brother is my best friend,
Mm-hmm.
and like he always thinks it's cool looking, but he's not into it. His hobbies are very different than mine, so he's always again kind of just like, mm-hmm, cool. All right, that's neat. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, I would like to share with somebody, especially when I get like something that's really cool. Like, check this out. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
that's cool,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's quite as like
Excited.
he doesn't build anything like that. He doesn't like video games are our shared hobby, but other
Mm-hmm.
than that, he's not a collector of robots or anything. So,
Yeah. So
but
so do you have friends who like Gundam or Gunpla or no?
no, not like real life friends that I could ever get together with
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like
for sure.
film, right? Like
Yeah.
I know some people online through Instagram
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that, but like the Discord group that you have is actually kind of like the closest I've come to like forming a group of people that like
Mm-hmm.
you know because it's small enough right now that like
Yeah.
we're getting to know each other really well,
Yeah.
and so you don't get quite as lost. Like I've followed a couple different things on like Reddit, but there's so many people on there that like you don't really get the community feel,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, like I've been so excited to talk to you
Yeah.
because I know you're into it, and
Yeah.
so it's you'll have to forgive me because I tend to ramble. When I get really excited about stuff,
Yeah.
I tend to get really into it. So if I talk way too long,
Yeah.
just cut me. Be like, Joe.
No worries, man. We're just here, to share our excitement because I mean, I'm kind of the same way as you are because I know people who build Gunpla. I mean, Gunpla has been around for years, right? And I have some friends. Actually, a lot of them they don't really know what's a Hexa Gear, you know. And
Yeah,
yeah, and I met a couple of guys online from Malaysia as well, and we have a chat group. We kind of talk about Hexagear, but it seems like if you're into Hexagear, you're like that one odd you know odd guy, like odd one out, like nobody knows. Be like, oh, what is it, and I
yeah,
just and I just thought that it's kind of cool that yeah, we are actually doing this, and to have people, that's the reason I want to start this series, right, and this show on YouTube, to in a way connect with other hexagonal builders, but also to um, kind of bring the awareness or educate people, be like, hey, there's this really really cool kid out there and you guys have to check it out. So yeah, that's why I'm doing this. And it's always so exciting when I get to talk to someone else who's kind of like, hey, okay, we are on the same boat. Not many people know about this in our country, and be like, okay, you know what, it's fine, but it's super fun. So what
oh
about
yeah.
what about in Canada? Is Hexagear or plastic model kit, is it like a big thing over there, or it's kind of niche? What would you say?
It still is kind of niche, but like Gunpla has really taken off. Like I live in a city that's about an hour south of Toronto, and like that's there are I'd say half a dozen dedicated Gunpla places there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that I've purchased stuff from because I've been like a lot of the kits, a lot of the Hexagear stuff, actually a lot of like just plastic model kits in general. I used to get from Hobby Link Japan, and I still do. Like if I really need something right away, like
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I'll order from them. But like there's a place in I think they're in Vaughan, which is part of the GTA called
Mm.
Panda Hobby. They're like dedicated like Gunpla store, but they carry some Hexa gear. And so I was
Yeah.
like, oh, like, but I discovered them while COVID was going on, so I've never been able to actually go to the store.
Hmm.
But I've ordered a bunch of stuff and been like, okay, cool. And like they've kind of talked about it a little bit, but Hexa gear still is nowhere near as popular. Um, but I found very recently a place like half an hour from me that's that's got hexagear on the shelves,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Are you? This is insane, right?" So, and it's a gorgeous layout. It's called Torchlight Games, and
Yeah,
so Harley,
I think we can probably put that in the comment or the description,
yeah,
to support, local businesses and maybe for people who are watching from Canada. I don't know who is gonna watch this, but hey, if you're watching from Canada and you wanted to get your hands on Hexagear, you can probably go to this place. What's it called? The Torch, what?
Torchlight Games.
Okay, I think you can probably just send to me the information.
Yeah, I'll send you a link. But
Yeah, yeah.
it was neat, and so like they've got a pretty good kotobukiya section. Like they
Mhm.
have a ton of gunpla. They're predominantly like tabletop war game stuff, like Warhammer,
Warhammer,
but
yeah.
yeah, but they've got this gorgeous layout, and like they've got hexa gear. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is
Yeah.
incredible. So like I picked up uh what's it called? Weird Tales from
Yeah.
them, and like the 1.2 version, like Rose Light type,
Yeah.
and like but they got a recently got like a really big restock, and I've been waiting for my next payday to kind of go and pick up
Yeah.
a couple other things, and I keep checking their website to make sure they don't sell out, and it's barely moved, and it's
Nice.
like so like it's good, but like people aren't quite as into it, so it means that when I go at the end of the week,
Yeah.
I'll the stuff will still be there, but yeah, it's just it's like Playmo in general is getting more popular, but Hexagear is still
Mhm.
that weird, not weird, but like
It's new.
odd thing out. Yeah, because it's not like even their humanoid mechas aren't your typical Japanese robot.
Hmm.
Like they're squat, they're stocky, they're like they don't. To me, they have the appeal. Like as with Gundam models and stuff, I've always been and just Gundam in general. I like the grunt suits better, the GMs, like the
Hmm.
mass produced stuff, because I always thought those designs were a little bit cooler because they weren't crazy huge designs. And so that was one of the things that attracted me to Hexagear is that they are like generic, kind of
Yeah.
kind of like just chunky odd shapes. They're like a potato with legs,
Like this guy.
but it's also they're incredible. Like I don't know. And like because I started my
Mhm.
building adventure with Gunpla,
Yeah.
and part of that was because like growing up, I really liked the Armored Core video game, and you could build your own mecha and stuff like that. And then I played a game called Xenogears, which was an RPG on the PS1, and it was the first time I'd ever seen like opening cockpit assemblies on a
Yeah.
mecha, and I was for some reason just blown away. I'm like, that's amazing. So then I started trying to find
Hmm.
something like that. Found Gunpla, got into the Master Grade kit line with their whole, and because they had opening cockpits. I'm like, this is cool. But I always wanted to be able to take the pilot out, right? Because like I got, I mean, I still do have a couple, but like, but that's the
Yeah.
size, right? And they don't do anything. So I was like, I was dying for a mecha something, a kit or a toy that had a removable, posable pilot. And
Yeah.
so I tried a Joy Toy mech really early on, like it was one of their
Yeah.
first releases, and like it was it's a really nice piece, but like it simultaneously had overly tight joints and really loose joints.
Yeah.
So like it kept falling over and almost took out a couple other things in my collection. I was like, you know what? So like he's kind of just in the back, but I was just like, I want that thing. And then I found Hexagear, and I was like,
How did you find out about Hexagear?
I was browsing Hobby Japan,
Yeah.
looking to see kind of stuff out there, and I guess they had just got in like the Volcarm Alpha, and I was like, what is that? It has an
Yeah.
opening cockpit. Because
Yeah.
I had seen a couple of Hexa Gear, like the Rayblade and the Voltrex, and like I was like, oh, that looks kind of cool, that's neat. But it didn't catch me right then. But it was the Volcarm with
Hmm.
this opening cockpit. I was like, that
Yeah.
that's the
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
And then and then they had the like the early type governor, and I was like, this is perfect because these
Yeah.
guys, it has that grunt feel to it. Because like the Parapon and like the Sentinel were cool looking, but they were a bit too hero unit for me, and I was like,
Hmm.
but the early type governors are incredible, and I have so many of them. It's
Yeah.
almost embarrassing. Like I've got uh
Which one? Is it
yeah.
the green one?
So I actually I mostly got the uh like the sand colored one, the desert type. So
Ah,
I've
yeah.
got four of those, and
Yeah.
then I've got five of the volume two, like the that's like the Night Stalker's color. Got five
Yeah.
of those.
Nice.
Uh and then I've got Mr. Pex,
Yeah.
which is super funny because the picture on this is definitely a real person that they've photoshopped his nipples off of because
Yeah.
the fake doesn't have them. It's weird. But yeah, I really liked those. And like it's just they're so cool, right? Like
Yeah.
this is my like fully painted pilot for
Yeah.
now. But like
For now.
oh, but then I've also got two loud gales. Um, I've got
Nice.
I've got three of the alphas, right? One regular, two jungle type, three of the betas, like with the hover feet. So I've got the lumberjack, which is what
Yeah.
my most recent build is, and then two of the standard types. I've got three of the uh, woodpeckers, and mostly it
Yeah.
was because their pilot came with a unique helmet, and I was
Yeah.
like, I need that because
Yeah.
I'm weird. I will like the what is he volume four, like the shirtless one. I mainly bought that because I like the different heads, and he came with
Yeah.
cans that have cigarettes and lighters, and I was like, that'll be perfect because one of the main kind of draws to this was I wanted to tell some stories
Hmm.
like photographically. So
Yeah.
I've also got a bunch of like the hangar setups. I'm building some diorama bits because I really want to like kind of tell my own story with these guys.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
That's
so
cool.
it's like, oh, cigarettes and lighters. Anyway, I'm rambling. Sorry.
No, no, no. I mean, that's cool, man. One of I guess you prefer the like military type of design, right? Would you say so because you have so many different like, Balcarm and as well as the early governors? I think that's more of your type. Would you say so, or
Yeah,
you like
yes, and
or you like them both because hexagear, I think I talked about this in my previous video. They have two lines, right? The first one is the military
yeah,
one. The other one is like the zootex, the animal insect looking, type. But for
yeah.
you, I think you kind of or you like both.
So I do like both, and part of it is like Mike who you had last time.
Mm-hmm.
He was saying like, one of the reasons he got into it because he was kind of tired of building the Gundam silhouette, and
Yeah.
so like the Zoetex ones are very very different. So
Mm-hmm.
again, with like this like kind of in my head world building, like the early types are my good guys, and I have
Yeah.
so many of them because it takes three bulk arms to fight Agna Rage. It's sort of how
Yeah.
I like
Wow.
justify it.
Uh-huh.
So like I've got Agna Rage, I've got the Demolition Brute,
Mm.
uh, I've got a Voltrex, Abyss Crawler,
Do
I've
you have a
got three.
windfall?
I've
Is
got a
it
Windfall.
windfall? Yeah.
Windfall is so underrated. It doesn't get the love it should, and
Yeah.
it's gorgeous. Like I love it, and it's so like because Agna Rage is incredible,
I think maybe you can
but like the
show
wind,
it. Maybe do you have a windfall with you or what?
I do.
I think that's an
So because not enough people kind of know
yeah,
about the Windfall, and
yeah,
like I think the lore is that this is actually rebuilt from a destroyed Agna Rage, which is why it has so many similar parts.
similar. Yes.
but like it's a bit smaller. Like its wingspan isn't as big. Like this is shared, but like there's a second section that expands to
Yeah.
Hagner Ridges. But like it's just it's awesome, and it's got like the cockpit actually comes off and turns into its own little like walker mech, so it transforms
Oh wow.
into
That's
like
cool.
oh I'm totally blocking the camera, but it's just like it's
Yeah.
so neat, right? And because like they've uh, I love this line because it's so
Mm-hmm.
interesting and so playable, you know, and it's
Exactly.
not like lying on the carpet like making pew pew noises,
Yeah.
which although I mean maybe I don't know, but like it's they're like they're almost designed for dioramas and like action
Yeah.
photography
Yeah.
because there's so much that you can do
You can
with
play with.
them.
I think to me it's to me it's a toy, right?
Yeah,
I like playing with it. It kind of reminds me of, I grew up watching Power Rangers, right? The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, like the Zords and all that. It kind of reminds me of that, where you can take apart everything and where you put it together and then it becomes something else. And for
yeah,
me, the Balcom Alpha, I kind of had the same feeling. When I saw the picture, I was like, dude, what is this thing? It looks so cool. And then I was like, I have to get one of these. And eventually I got one, and I'm like, man, they have the green color. I'm gonna get the green color as well. It's like you really like it when you have to just get more than one. You know.
yeah,
Yeah. So for
yep,
me, that's what I would always recommend people if you want to start. With a Hexa Gear, make sure you get the Balcom Alpha. If you get it as your first hexagonal Mac, you're just gonna fall in love with this. And get yourself a governor, or get yourself one of those two-in-one blaze bore or bow tracks or motor punisher, all these like two-in-one where it comes with
yeah,
a governor, you know. So how long have you been collecting? Probably 2 years, 3 years
yeah, yeah. I'd say um,
in 2019,
yeah,
maybe.
I think so. Yeah, was probably my first purchase, and because like I had got the very first one I got,
Hmm.
like they haven't even bothered trying to reissue him, but he's the Parapon Ignite,
Yeah.
and like I was just like this thing is so crazy, like this is so cool, and but he suffers from early generation
Yep.
governors being
I
very falls apart.
I don't like it. I mean, like it looks really cool, right? But it's like once I'm done, I'm just gonna let it sit there for a while because especially with the shoulders, and I'm like it doesn't make sense, and it just like falls apart. That's the issue with the first generation, right? Starting with the A1, I think the Sentinel is fine. Sentinel is fine, and you've got the expander, the Rose and all those first generation governors. Man, they're a pain to play with.
Yeah,
That's why they reissue the 1.5. And to be honest, I recently finished the White Rabbit, right? And I was hoping that they could, I don't know, to me it's like, okay, you make it 1.5, but it's still kind of like the first generation. I'm not sure if it makes sense. There's like not
yeah,
much that's changed other than giving me or giving us a few extra hands or weapons or head units. But I'm like, okay, I kind of wish that you could have done a bit more. That's how I felt. Yeah.
yeah. Well, it's interesting actually because so like the motor punisher you get that comes with
Mm-hmm.
like a sentinel, like that's like the first version, and you can tell like it's night and day between the 1.5. Like when
Yep.
you actually see them next to each other, you're like, whoa, like they really improved that.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and I don't have a lot of the light types. Like I just got the Rose 1.5, but even because I have two of like the female early governors. There was the first one they released with like the cleavage,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then like the one that just came out, who's
The
like sort of the
six.
medic, like pilot.
Yeah.
So like, and even between those two, they added some stuff the like the early female governor doesn't have like an ankle tilt. So posing her, you need one of those stands because she cannot. Like
Yeah.
if you get her more than like kind of a standard like relaxed pose, like she tips over. But
Yeah.
the the fix is or whatever it is, it like they've given her more of the ankle tilt of like of these guys, where like it's actually got like
Yeah.
the but but like you were saying, right? Like the like expander, I've got him, and I
Oh
can't even look at
man.
him.
Yeah.
Like like he's he's permanently on
Let
sitting
me
on
see.
something because you can't make him like
I actually have it
everything
over
falls
here.
apart. Yeah,
So you know what I did? I was so annoyed. I decided to just glue everything. I'm like, I'm just gonna glue all the parts in the gun and even the legs. Like you can't even make it like stand properly. It's just gonna like fall, you know.
yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, coming out with a new one. So I think I'm definitely gonna get that for the expander. Yeah,
Same.
yeah. So
Yeah. Also, because he's again, like I know that there's lore on all of these cards
mhm.
and stuff, and trying to read it through like Google Translate's a bit of a
Yeah.
chore, but like he definitely seems like he's supposed to be the big bad. And so
Yes.
the new version, I think they've upsized him a fair bit.
Yep. They do.
So
Mhm.
I'm excited for that because it's a really cool design.
Yeah.
It's just it was like too early in their like engineering before they finally really got it right. Because like the early types, like honestly, these
Mhm.
things are so incredible.
Yeah.
Like they're so posable and like oh they're wonderful and like a lot of the kind of newer esque like of the kind of like hero units, right? Like these
Yeah.
guys are fantastic too. Like I love this design and it's just like this line blows my mind. It's
Yeah.
just it's so fun to build and like the ball cards, like you were saying, right? Like you want to buy another because it's so fun to build. It's not as like
Yes.
as fiddly, right? Like because I'm working on like the last unbuilt gunpla I have, and
Hmm.
it's like the GM for two, and is like it's so there's so many small pieces that like you spend so much time building it that like you're kind of like when is this gonna end? But like
Yeah.
with a bulk arm, it's like and I love the building process, right? Like that's why I
Yes.
haven't painted half of this stuff because it's
It's very
like I
fun.
think you it's relaxing,
Yeah.
but when you have a whole bunch of tiny pieces that like snap or you drop and never see them again,
Oh man.
but like with a bulk arm, like it's I don't know, like it was a lot more build friendly,
Hmm.
if that makes any sense. Like it,
Like it makes sense. You know what? When you build it, you're like, oh, okay, this part goes here, and but sometimes it keeps you wondering, you know, because
yeah,
you have all these like weird parts, and then it's not very obvious when you are building it. You know, you're like, okay, so with this shape and sizes, I wonder what is it gonna turn out to be like, you know. So and then yeah, to me when I was building Hexagear, especially the Balcom, it's like there's just so many of those like wow factors. You know, to me it's like every kit feels different. You know, when I built the Balcom or Blockbuster, you know, or the Motor Punisher, like every kit they feel different. It doesn't feel like you're building the same thing, right? And
mm-hmm.
recently I'm building more of those 30 minutes missions, right? So even though they are different supposedly, but the process is still the same,
Mm-hmm.
right? So to me, yeah, I think one of the reasons that I really like Hexagon is because of the governors as well. You know, like you said, you can actually fit the governors, you can actually customize. I mean, like I kind of wish that they use the same joints for all the governors, you know, because I kind of want to like mix and match it and see how it goes, but um I don't know, I don't think I can actually do that because I tried. So yeah, have you tried before, like mix and match different governors and see?
A little bit. It's
Yeah.
like is it requires a lot of modification. Like it can be done,
Hmm.
but like they're almost the opposite of like their main kits, where you can literally take parts off of a
Hmm.
bulk arm and put them on an Agna Rage, and it fits because they all use the same joints.
Hmm.
Whereas, yeah, like all of the early types, obviously you can mix and match, but like there's the ball joints on hips are just a little bit different on like the like some of the other guys that you either have to like modify it a little bit or a lot. But I haven't really like I'm still very much an amateur when it comes to
Mhm.
like building and painting. So like my
No,
most
you're not,
recent,
Joe. You're
well,
not, Joe.
well, but it's like I guess it's applying it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's the practice because for a very long time, like I was really afraid to try because I didn't want to
Yes.
mess it up,
Yep.
right? And because there's that like, "Man, I spent money on this thing. What if I ruin it?
Yeah.
You know?" And then, but but it's just that like there is some stuff out there, especially like on Twitter, right?
Mhm.
Like in Asia, Hexagear is getting more and more popular,
Oh,
and some of the stuff people are building on there just out of stuff, right?
like in Japan,
Um,
I'm telling you,
yeah,
I just follow all these Japanese hexagear builders, man. I was like,
yeah,
I don't even know how you guys can think of these ideas, but I'm like, man, respect.
it's incredible, and it's a different mindset, right? Like, because for me, customizing one is putting some of the MSG weapons on,
Yeah.
right? Like my brawler, as I'm calling him, was sort of my most ambitious because
Oh
you
man,
know
guys, check this out, guys.
he was like he's got this gigantic hands and he's got like shields and the miniguns, and I really wanted him to kind of feel different
Hmm.
because like originally he was sort of my ace pilot idea
Yeah,
where like that was kind of because again I had this whole like this
story.
lore in my head
Yeah,
that I'm kind of like my alphas are all going to be kind of like long range guys, right?
yeah.
And in fact, this particular one with like because he's got this huge MSG cannon and like a missile launcher, he's actually going to get a leg upgrade in the form of like the height rager, which is
Mhm.
like the like this thing, right? So
Yeah.
it turns like it's got a quad leg thing. So he's going to be like you know like I've got just this idea in my head of kind of a story I want to tell, but I don't have any of it on paper. If
Yeah.
that makes any sense. It's just like these ideas that like yeah, I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it's one thing that I'm actually like would like to kind of tell a story because my younger brother I was
Hmm.
talking about him a little bit earlier. Like he's a fantastic writer, and
Yeah.
like we have been toying with this idea of writing something
Yeah.
like since high school,
Yeah.
but never really did it. And so I actually took him to that hobby store, and he was looking at it, and he was actually sort of you could see this kind of this little twinkle in his eye where he doesn't build these, but he was like you could do almost the story we've been talking about with
Yeah.
these things. I was like, are you interested in some of it? So what kind of because like he's had one or two gunpla that like I sort of built or painted for him because he was never really into it. But like he's always had this kind of like from afar fascination. So like I have a story in my head that I kind of want to tell,
Yeah.
and it's just because all the Zootech stuff are like the bad guys,
Yeah,
and the
definitely.
really stuff is all the good guys, and like I don't need as many of the bad guys because they're more powerful, right?
Yeah.
Like because again, it's trying to figure out like how many early governors does it take to fight Expander, right? It would take a whole bunch,
Yeah.
and like just these things of like they're. But I mean, I still have. I think it's like technically now seven of the Sentinels. I've also got a couple of the alternative jesters,
Yeah.
which are like sort of like the drone unit,
Yeah.
completely one color. But like there's some idea for like these like cannon
Angelic.
fodder for the good guys to destroy, right? Like
Yeah.
just that kind of I don't know, but yeah, I've got I geek out up here so much, just
Yeah.
like thinking of these ideas, but I'm so slow to paint them that like I keep releasing really cool stuff, and
Yeah.
so like when I first started collecting them, like I wasn't expecting like the loud gales or even the glance, which I have one that I'm building
Mhm.
or about to paint,
Which
but
one?
like
The red one or the blue one?
no, the toothpaste colored one, the original version.
Toothpaste. Yeah.
Well, he looks like toothpaste. So, but like because again, coming from like transforming
Yeah.
toys and like stuff. Like that's like I was just like, wait, they make them some that transform into cars? Like, are you
Yeah.
kidding? That's awesome. Like the Steel Rain. I've got a Steel Rain that's a helicopter that turns into a mech, and it was just like, of course, fine.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's not the
but
best out there though. The Steel Rain
no,
is not the best out there.
it's just it's. I wouldn't say it's disappointing as much as it's like uh too big.
Yeah.
Because its biggest flaw
They
to me
try.
is the leg.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm. Sorry.
it's got so many joints in the legs and so many like pivot points that it can't stand on its own because you'll get it standing and then it'll just kind of and down it goes.
It's kind of like
So,
the Voltrex. Kind of like the Voltrex.
but yeah, it's just because like yeah, like the Voltrex, like I don't mess around with too much,
Just let
but
it sit there.
yeah, but it looks awesome. But I really
Yeah.
want the new because they've you know claimed to have addressed
Supposedly.
some issues.
Supposedly. We'll see.
We'll see. I will buy it and I'll tell you how it turns out.
Yeah,
But
I'm not gonna get it. I'm gonna get the Forest Lord Impulse, the green one. Yeah.
it looks good. Lord Impulse was a fun build.
I
Oh,
don't have one. Yeah. So I'm
I
just saving. I'm just saving to get that one so I can kind of get like two in one again. You know. Yeah.
yeah, it's I went for the Lord Impulse because
Mhm.
I don't know, like I like the whole like mouth parts on these on the more animalistic ones. Like Agna Rage has
Yeah.
just this. It's like Predator
I
meets.
think maybe you can show the
Oh
acne
yeah,
image. Yeah.
yeah, because I have it
Because,
right here.
yeah.
Why wouldn't I do that?
I
But
don't have one, but I heard it's the biggest. Is it the biggest hexagear?
it's definitely it was definitely the most complicated, like complex. It has the most parts, I think. Like it took a couple days of building
Yeah.
like because there's a lot of parts in there, but like it's can I get close enough
Huge.
over it? Its
Yeah.
face has like its mouth assembly has like a lower jaw and then
Wow.
these mandibles,
Wow.
and so it's just awesome. And there's so much going on with it that
Yeah.
just awesome. Like it's got these hip cannons that actually come off, which are very tight, and I pulled the thing off, but
Yeah.
it actually I was trying to pull it off earlier. I'm worried about painting it because of how tight that is. But these little hip parts
Mhm.
actually come off and form these little flying drones.
Oh wow, that's cool.
And then they come with like special bits to put them on these the little flight stands.
Yeah.
But like, oh, it's just it was so fun to build because it was so different than anything I'd built before.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, it's just
Is this your favorite? Which
I
is your favorite hexagear?
oh,
If you could pick
you know
one,
what?
if you could pick one,
I knew you were gonna ask,
the
but
best. What's the
honestly,
best?
I don't know. Um,
Oh, the top
because
three.
they
You can choose three. The top three.
oh, okay, top three.
Yeah.
Um, I would have to say,
The Balcom. It has to
well,
be
yeah,
up there. It has to be up there.
it's and like I definitely think the lumberjack because it had a different head. It has like this really cool like sword that I didn't use with it. It's going
Yeah.
with somebody else. Um, and it was just like the bulk arm feel is just great. And then the loud gale is kind of in there as like a second because again, like it was it's just it's really cool. And I've seen some really cool customs with it. Like I like
Mhm.
the transforming aspect. It's a bit clunky when it has like in
Yeah.
robot mode because it's got all this extra wheel stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but but yeah, like in terms of actually building, like the it might be the Agna Rage. He's in the top three because it's just so like imposing
Mhm.
and incredible. But at the same time, the Windfall, I don't know. I'm very indecisive because I've been so impressed with everything.
Yeah.
So,
But if you have
but
to choose three, so it's gonna be the Loud Gale, Lumberjack, and the Agni Rage.
yeah,
Those three.
I'd say so.